Hello and a very warm welcome. This is the news on NTA International. My name is Justin Bemuya and here are the top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari declares open joint leadership retreat, appeals for middle ground in executive-legislative partnership for effective service delivery. 2020 World Teachers Day, President Buhari approves new salary scale for Nigerian teachers, among other incentives. Plus, President Trump makes surprise trip out of hospital to greet well-wishers in spite of COVID-19 infections. Well, thank you so much for joining us. A two-day brainstorming session aimed at finding a middle ground in the executive-legislative partnership for effective service delivery in the country is underway in Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari, who declared open the joint leadership retreat between the two arms of government, reaffirmed the collective will and sincere aspirations to build a nation where justice, peace and progress are the norms. State House correspondent Damusambu has a report.
The joint leadership retreat provides an opportunity for members of the executive and the legislature to review and strengthen areas of achievements as well as address identified weaknesses in their collaborative partnership for nation building. President Muhammadu Buhari said since there can only be one government in a nation at a time, its officials, both elected and appointed, have no alternative than to work together for the desired peace, unity and development. This, he said, has been largely achieved since the inauguration of the 9th National Assembly.
The accelerated passage of the 2020 budget, the timely confirmation of my nominees, and passage of critical legislations are all testaments to your willingness and commitment to play your part towards delivering effective services to Nigerians. There is a compelling need to sustain and strengthen on this partnership by creating platforms to share ideas and build consensus on critical governance and policy issues. Which will enhance coordination within government and strengthen our capacity to effectively address the challenges of governance, service delivery, and development.
He said by virtue of the support and effective partnership with the legislature, critical reforms have been initiated by government towards strengthening the economy, increasing efficiency in governance, and putting the country on a steady path to sustainable future. And to significantly improve the livelihoods of Nigerians within the next 3 years, the President explained that a 9-point priority development agenda has been unveiled to, amongst others, improve security for all, achieve a thriving and sustainable economy, and build a system that will fight corruption on a permanent basis.
We cannot do this alone without your support and collaboration. While all members of the Federal Executive Council have been given clear mandates and yearly targets towards achieving the set indicators and goals, I recognize the critical role of the National Assembly in helping to deliver this agenda and the strategic goals set by this government.
Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker Femi Bajabiamila restated the commitment of both chambers of the National Assembly to sustain the highly desirous and genuine partnership with the executive towards enhancing good governance and effective service delivery to Nigerians.
This relationship is misunderstood by many. Some, out of mischief, will describe the National Assembly as rubber stamp. Some else of misunderstanding. What is upmost in our minds as members of the National Assembly in the 9th Assembly is how do we work with the executive to make Nigeria better. If the price to pay is the names that we get, then let it be the price to pay.
I believe this two-day engagement will do nothing but enhance this relationship, strengthen it, and the people that will be the better for it, not us, but the Nigerian people that we represent.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Umar Eli Yakub, applauded both President Muhammadu Buhari and the leadership of the National Assembly for always taking proactive steps towards deepening cooperation and partnership between the executive and the legislature for national prosperity. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, it's been 15 months of working relationship between the executive and the 9th National Assembly, a relationship that the actors themselves strongly believe has yielded meaningful national development. The leadership of the two arms of government met and reviewed the strength and weakness of this relationship for possible improvement. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The 9th National Assembly is credited to have introduced some innovations, positive ones at that. Improved relationship with the executive is one of. But like a newly constructed road, this relationship too needs maintenance, and it is the commitment to lubricate this alliance that necessitated the joint executive-legislative leadership retreat at the presidential villa. Interestingly, the legislators and the executive agreed that the existing relationship between the two arms of government has been productive.
Mr. President and the leadership of the 9th Assembly have taken proactive steps to foster and deepen cooperation between both arms of government.
You can see how the outcomes of bills from executive have been passed without any delay.
All of us must realize that this cooperation should be mutual. There should be no senior or junior partner.
You have seen the legislators cooperated with the executive to the letter because it has given it maximum support.
With the economic downturn caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, both parties concord on the urgent need for an improved relationship.
It is like the National Assembly is making more sacrifice. So this kind of meeting will make everybody to contribute.
There is room for improvement. With this kind of synergy, with this kind of retreats, probably we'll get to talk.
And the purpose is not to rest on your oars and think that you have a perfect balance, but to find ways of continuously improving relationship and communication.
This meeting aptly captures the essence of popular consultation in democracy. From the presidential villa, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The presidency has responded to the recurring threats to the corporate existence of the country with factions given specific timelines for the president to do one thing or another, or else, in their language, the nation will break up. In a statement, the presidency said, warned that such unpatriotic outbursts are both unhelpful and unwarranted, as the present administration will not succumb to threats and take any decision out of pressure at a time when the nation's full attention is needed to deal with the security challenges facing it at the time of the COVID-19 health crisis. The statement said the administration will not take any decision against the interest of 200 million Nigerians who are the president's first responsibility under the Constitution out of fear or threats, especially in this hour of health crisis. The president, as an elected leader under this Constitution, will continue to work with patriotic Nigerians through and in line with the parliamentary processes to find solutions to structural and other impediments to the growth and well-being of the nation and its people. And President Muhammadu Buhari has approved automatic employment for education students on graduation, extension of teachers' retirement age to 65 years, and teaching service year to 40. This is in the President's message to Nigerian teachers as they join their counterparts globally in marking 2020 World Teachers' Day. Adebola Brucelin Sunday reports that the message was presented by the Minister of Education, Adamu.
Visually impaired Diglip Emmanuel is one of the about 2 million qualified and registered teachers in Nigeria. Attempts to bridge the educational gap between the visually impaired and their abled counterparts in Nigeria led him to the teaching profession.
Teachers' reward is not supposed to be in heaven alone. but it's supposed to start right from here on out.
As the minister mounted the podium to deliver the policy statements and incentives by President Buhari that will make the profession competitive, the dream and needs of Dinglip Emmanuel appeared to have been met.
Special salary scale for teachers in basic and secondary schools, including provisions for rural posting allowance, science teacher allowances, and peculiar allowances, is hereby given. Free tuition and automatic admission for biological children of teachers in their respective schools.
I am confident that many teachers will rise up to the challenge to work harder and emerge as stars of our future.
Key players say year 2020, the best year to appreciate teachers due to the coronavirus pandemic.
To always remember to appreciate that special teacher who laid the foundation for the success you have achieved in life.
National President, Nigerian Union of Teachers, Nasir Idris, commended the concerted efforts of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and the modalities put in place for safe reopening of schools.
In order to safeguard the health and safety of the learners, teachers, and the school community as a whole.
There were gift items for winners of the Presidential Teachers and Schools Excellence Awards.
I continue to uphold education nationally, internationally, and even development of indigenous technology, which I specialize on.
This year, organizers are looking at teachers leading in crisis and at the same time reimagining the future. Because amid a global pandemic, teachers have become even more vital as they navigate on how to help students adjust to distance learning and adopt the COVID-19 safety guidelines. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
In the meantime, resumption of academic activities in schools across the country will be done in line with safety protocols as recommended by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. To foster effective sensitization and compliance with the safety measures, the Ministry of Environment is deploying 60,000 environmental health emergency volunteers to man environmental health desks in schools across all 774 local government areas of the country. Onenge Fineface reports.
Activation of the Environmental Health Emergency Volunteer Corps is initiated to provide support services to environmental health officers in developing detailed protocols, establishing and maintaining prescribed hygiene standards and practices. Members of the Volunteer Corps will monitor provision of water, sanitation and hand hygiene facilities, access to gender-segregated toilet facilities, carry out temperature checks and ensure that classrooms and hostels are well ventilated.
In the same vein, environmental health officers working in the state and local governments are hereby directed to key in to the training of teachers, administrators, and other education personnel on safe and hygiene measures, namely disinfection, safe distancing, hand hygiene, use of face masks and shields.
The Corps will also promote use of face masks, ensure safe food preparations and handling, as well as safe disposal of wastes in schools. Consequently, a joint assessment team comprising environmental health officers at the federal, state and local government levels will also be activated to ensure compliance with the protocols for safe reopening of schools in Nigeria. In Abuja, Onenge Fineface, NTA News.
The National Examination Council's Senior School Certificate Examination has commenced across the country. And Hadiza Godwin Ebune reports.
The examination began with practicals as students sitting for the NECO Senior School Certificate Examination are exhibiting their craft before supervisors who are evaluating their practicals for grading. In some schools around the Federal Capital Territory, some teachers monitoring the exhibition say the students are ready for the various practicals.
Display their work, at least like 12 pieces of their works for their exhibition. Then the examiner from NECO will just come and assess the works. That's how it's been done.
The subject we have today is practical. And the practical is based on progressive assessment.
Okay.
So we are waiting for the council to send their personnel to this place to work with the students and the teacher in charge of each of the subjects that are involved.
Furthermore, the National Common Entrance Examination, which is a one-day examination for intending applicants into the Unity colleges, will run in between the senior school certificate examinations. Hadiza Godwin Ebuni, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. Time to take a break, and we shall be right back with more reports. To stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. President Donald Trump's COVID-19 infection has so far not convinced him to prioritize a responsible approach to the pandemic that has killed 209,000 Americans over his own political aspiration. Uche Ugochukwu brings us the latest on COVID-19 in the White House. Meantime, World Health Organization warns that an estimated 10% of the global population have been infected by COVID-19, with countries heading into winter more vulnerable to the virus. And again, Uche Ugochukwu stands by with more on the pandemic.
A top World Health Organization expert has warned that an estimated 10% of the global population has been infected with the coronavirus. Head of the WHO's emergencies team, Dr. Mike Ryan, said the pandemic is not burning out. He said the rise of infections puts countries heading into winter at risk of virus amplification events as more people gather indoors. In another development, UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the coronavirus figures in the UK are more realistic following the addition of 16,000 confirmed cases which had been missing last week due to a technical glitch. Still on spike in positive cases, Scotland says it is considering new restrictions to tackle the rise in infections, with National Clinical Director Jason Leach suggesting a 2-week circuit breaker of tougher rules. Similarly, Iran reported record daily number of new infections with 3,902 new positive cases and 235 deaths in the past 24 hours as it struggles to contain what officials describe as a third wave of its outbreak. Meanwhile, Nigeria saw decline in number of daily cases, having reported 58 infections on Monday. The country's total confirmed cases figure now stands at 59,345 and 1,113 fatalities. The coronavirus in Africa tracker indicates the continent's tally is 1,515,658, from which 1,254,894 patients have been successfully treated and discharged. The world is left with 7,742,501 active cases of COVID-19 out of the 35,491,998 confirmed infections shown on the Wodometer coronavirus dashboard as at 6 p.m. local time. The death toll rose to 1,043,254 at the time. That's it on the global pandemic. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
And away from health matters now, preparation towards Nigeria's next census is intensifying with the commencement of the next phase of the enumeration area demarcation exercise. The exercise, which is the foundation for the actual census, will cost the federal government 10 billion naira. Kelvin Ebunwaye reports.
The success of any census depends on the effectiveness of the enumeration area demarcation exercise, regarded by experts as the framework on which the entire census architecture is built. It comprises specific number of persons and households which a team of enumerators can cover during a census. Since Nigeria's last census in 2006, 9 EAD have been done in 208 local government areas of the country. The next phase, and the 10th in the series, will be conducted in 33 local government areas spread across 25 states and the FCT. Authorities of the National Population Commission are delighted that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the release of 10 billion naira for the continuation of the exercise in the remaining 546 local government areas of the country.
The President has graciously followed this up by a further approval of an additional 4.5 billion to be included in the 2021 budget for the completion of the exercise as part of preparations for the next census.
At the moment, the training of field officers is ongoing towards a successful enumeration area demarcation and the actual census to provide the country with the necessary data for development planning and resource allocation. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwaye, NTA News.
The effort of the Niger government to become a major sugar-producing state hits a setback following a ravaging flood that destroyed sugarcane plantations in the state and displaced communities. This is coming as the state government commences the payment of compensation and relocation of people prone to flood along River Niger. Musa Babaliu tells us more.
Mokwa is one of the largest sugarcane producing local government areas in Niger State. The people cultivate both local and industrial canes, which have over the years been contributing largely to the livelihood of the inhabitants. The ravaging flood this year visited the local government and destroyed all the available sugarcane and rice plantations in the area. Sunti is the worst hit area, and that is where the multi-billion naira sugar company is located. The crew got to Sunti and other communities in the evening due to lack of accessible road.
We are using both to carry on across.
The whole community is surrounded by water, and residents using all the available ways of getting out of the flooded area. Niger State government says sugarcane worth more than 60 billion naira and other investment were lost to the flood at Sunti alone.
The flood has been excessive, and definitely a lot of support will be required to assist those communities. A lot of support, because they've lost their livelihood completely, and we must have pity for such people.
In the meantime, the Niger State government says it's adopting a strategy towards convincing the people living along River Niger to relocate.
Those communities that already identified and the state government has paid compensation to them, some of them, they are already in their new resettlement. All what they need to do, the federal government can support them by building houses for them or by giving them building materials.
In another development, all the hydroelectric dams in the country are in good shape without any form of threat from the ravaging floods in the country. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And now, as the National Industrial Court commences the 2020-21 new legal year, the President of the Court, Justice Benedict Kanyip, says best practices in labor matters, delivery of labor justice timely and humanly remain the goals of the court. The President said this in Abuja at a ceremony to usher in the new legal year. Judiciary correspondent Vera Chumba was there and now reports.
The President of the National Industrial Court, Justice Benedict Kanyip, who chronicled the achievements and proactive measures and programs put in place to promote administration of justice in the history of the 42-year-old court, said 939 decisions of the court had been uploaded in the court's website while it sat physically and virtually. He said the court is utilizing ADR Center for settling employment and labor disputes, but intends to make it a policy thrust of the court.
We will continue to strive to attain excellence by improving on the justice delivery mechanisms allowed us by law, just so that access to justice is easy and affordable to all who require the services of the court. We do not, however, intend to compromise on the issues of discipline, transparency and hard work.
Attorney General of the Federation, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, commended the court for rising above the force majeure imposed by COVID-19 pandemic in justice delivery.
The National Industrial Court has been contributing positively and effectively to the resolution of trade disputes and industrial relation matters in the country. It has also helped in rekindling foreign investors' confidence in the industrial relation stability in Nigeria.
Mr. Adegbega Awomola, who represented the body of benchers, said the process of appointing judicial officers has manifested outright disregard for the principles of separation of power. A legal practitioner, Afam Osigwe, who represented the NBA president, said achieving full independence for the judiciary will be difficult if the judiciary is not guaranteed full autonomy under the Constitution. In Abuja, Viera Chumba, NTA News.
Now let's check on tomorrow's weather prospect. And that's the news. Before we go, remember to connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Justin Bemuni.